Hello, my name is Anthony Wall, and I mentioned before how Weathersfield Police Chief, retired and long standing, with his daughter, his extended family members, involved with like a whole bunch of people tied to the Morrow family, a whole bunch of people tied to CCSU. No, they're using the identities of these locations, businesses, on off them, with a database tied, identity of the ground tied, racketeering method. So they have readings of statutes that give credibility to people with different types of jobs and stuff like that. See, but we have the sequence, the circuit. They're involved with sequence racketeering together, so they're misreading statutes. Not even a lawyer, not a police firm, not a criminal. You don't have to be a lawyer to know what sequence is true and what's not, and what's preventing people from demonstrating sequence shifts inside and outside of courts. This also has gag orders recorded, confessed, and demonstrated through time, used with everything. In other words, for example, with color. No one ever explained and with math. With no one ever, everyone's exploiting how math is not. These are markets positions, value nature systems positions, forced tactical interior from the one that causes positive value nature progressions, action natures in relationship to the ground's identity. Really, it's not by accident we have self-value glorified, a pathology of infrastructure since before cars were invented that was forced from a tactically denatured relationship to ground, recorded. The real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures like predicate acts were blamed on other things and others wrongly, like witch trials, especially if that was made up. These are fake sides of Trinity's correlation. Nothing is nothing, just a result, and then that result is not as wrong if it's not the Trinity. And now, see, this is in relationship to what's the algorithm. This is about 5 identities of positive. Now, say some parents don't want to agree with me with that. For example, because this is the Federal Trade Commission, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. This is with the institution of the Department of Homeland Security. Hold your seatbelts. These are from inside, outside of the Ninth Circuit in Manhattan, right before the Trade Center attack. The same people, intercampuses, from all the topics in the news, like Paul Manafort, treatments of Paul Manafort, all the topics in the news, local, the Connecticut news media, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They're involved with racketeering, not just the racketeering they pretend to be about undercover and with the programs with the kids and stuff. They're involved with actual racketeering acts and methods recorded. Now, these are mistreatments of positive. Again, there are 5 simultaneously valuable identities of positive that are simultaneously distinct, but they're non-distinct so we could see them, which is sequence true. Before being distinctly and non-distinctly, but being two. While being distinctly, non-distinctly, being, again, simultaneously. The value of the order of the finite with the sequence true. And the value to the order, the active fact treatment nature quality, positive or negative as quality. These are 3 natures of positive. Then progression's value. See, with people stacking on a mass scale throughout our nations, the same pathology of infrastructure, all victims from this criminally foreign influence sciences, not sourced by one nation. Now, how this maintains that self-value, breaching screen roles, because the sick wars and things like that were designed to keep everyone blaming other things other than themselves. And in defense of quality of fact treatment nature styles, treatments of pseudo-positive not by accident, right there, each age of fact treatment nature, simultaneously distinctly, hurt and helped simultaneously because by misprision, self-valuing that. And these are not means. one way redeems. All we have to do is say, who wouldn't work for free to build for our elderly homes, to build for our kids, like they're talking about, oh, they have $1 or something to work with school food. Just for example, we have technology involved with database racketeering that originally instill identity is tied to the identity of the ground racketeering. We have experts that are recorded involved with kids in my town. They're behind my back, pretending I had conversations with me, interbranch drug clicks, sexual circles, per themselves, per everyone speaking through other people and preventing writing since I was a kid, having them involved with this database racketeering, and then they're pretending to perceive things. Now they have my new and past neighbors involved with the Dillon family, and with a whole bunch of people involved on and off Trinity College with untimely deaths on and off the college, and with the roles with that with the Dillon family, Anna Dillon, and someone with the name Annie Dillon, and houses that she's associated with real estate, and her son Sean Dillon. And these are foreign and domestic military, other military police families that live next to churches too. A Kerr family, a Kovinskis family, and I don't know his Lucinda. I never had a class with her. I barely know him, only through confessions and tried to pretend to illusions in relationship to the recorded uses of people along routes. And with Washington, D.C., with Trade Center, racketeering on and off CCSU, note where they train, and other campuses. Racketeering rolls with on and off Trinity College through time. Database racketeering. Now, see, they use methods, for example. They use methods, even if I don't know who the person is on the end, if it's really the person, people I had never had anything to do with, the only exceptions, juxtaposed with people, the only how they had anything to do with, the only exceptions are them involved with racketeering with judges and with police forms and with overt criminal enterprises and the witness protection program, all with direct and indirect ties to the same houses used as victims by them. If they want to debate it, they're going to be victim predators with the federal criminal code defendants in a tied case /S of former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin. Now, see, this shows sequence shifts and the right to lie used criminally. They have the used Congress criminally. They have them entertain defenses of their identities. They're only defending them as pseudo-positive treatments. They can't stand free speech. So now they're preventing mandated law, pretending that the courts can't be told on outside of courts. Because if you go in certain courts, they're also recorded. They already have been, and will keep stacking fake recorded things into databases, leveraging on that already stacked in databases, having done so with the kids' campuses through time. Former Mayor Gold, other former mayors. The buildings next to Fox Connecticut News, downtown Hartford. A whole bunch of people tied to Rick Faglione. I never had anything to do with him the whole time he was in high school. After he was in high school, he made a whole bunch of confessions. I had to stay back a year. These people, they're stacking. He was involved with the 8th grade too. They're stacking each of the teachers to roles with racketeering, not just with the former director of the FBI, a whole bunch of other FBI agents, their family members, CIA. Per them on Facebook. Oh, but you don't know who that is. Of course, I don't know who they were. They were pretending to know me, and they forced, as what is actually recorded, roles and forced not told on a principal sex offender who was caught anyway. And they arrested me with falsified police reports for trying to tell on such, confessed to me, and recorded with other things too. First, I was trying to report on that too. I didn't even get to all that, which is already recorded too. It was recorded on Facebook. New Britain Superior Court used the Facebook pages with other Hartford courts. Also involved with uses of Facebook pages for all kinds of juxtaposed, sustained pseudo care for and help for on and off campuses, racketeering, even sexual and medical crimes against kids, because they need to keep positive self value. Time treatments always too fast, too slow. Getting over on sequence nature. Getting over on, I say, mass sequence nature racketeering. We have recorded a path of racketeering acts against me by everyone who I asked for help to report crime acts. Now, see, they have a racketeering with Russians and used against Russians, Americans used against Americans, where they have conspiracy theories, where they have online vetting of the quality of truth of people, because they have parents that have titles and they have kids and they're lying about what other people say. That's why we're little collar punks in the background. And now, see, they have crimes with guns and with poison. And now these are the people that are preventing speech by forging names, switching names. So it's recorded when the police come to their house, they're going to lie. And now they're involved with worse than just extortions and torture here. Prevention of religious rights, fake conversations with me. And they got physical delusions juxtaposed with it, and with aggressions tied to their premises treatments, criminally foreign influence, delusions raw, and recorded, exploited that way. How motivated to it them. Recorded, confessed, demonstrated, all together. Now this is on off the state judicial branch offices. These are identity of the ground relationships to the racketeering with the database tied narratives. And so an algorithm is how one identity, left to right, simultaneously, is 1/3/5 bonded. Values as nature as value. Simultaneously, it is right to left, 1/3/5. That 5 is where the individual is complete. But if we don't stay complete here now as our quality of fact treatment nature, it is positive or negative, and the identity deals with that. But identity is simultaneously an unceasing and increasingly valuable semi-nature relationship to that which is 5 identities of positive bonding. And in demonstration of the value of that, positive is value. What is positive's course? It is value. And what is values? It is identities. What is positives? Positive and negative. It's for the perfection of this forever nature's more of itself, or forces our value from here, these are IDs, per a value nature system that is tactically ulterior from the ones that are positive here. These are not means. One way redeems, who disbelieves. Have them pick one name in sequence. They are preventing the already male racketeering roles. They already invested people through whole careers, the whole time, each year. That's what they do. They use confessions for this whole kind of ways too, because now they know you're gonna tell them they even want to get caught, told on, because of these even the lawyer, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, involved with people from my town, intercities, involved also with Hartford, originally and still with these racketeering methods and roles and uses of the branches of government through criminal foreign influence, not legalized, but just a phenomenon of everyone rolls with it. Now, free speech, WFSB, for example, reputable, what they call reputable, licensed journalists. They attach me to fake locations, fake ties to other people, fake sequence nature relationships to other people. And they did that enforcing more than and would have got away with it, and did get away with it for a time. They forced sustained, as they are doing further, a principal sex offender. And now I still can't have free speech because they attach me to fake speech. Lies, they attach me to fake doctors growing up. These are a whole bunch of people with Trinity College and with CCSU, tied to mayors, retired and standing, higher ranks in politicians. Now, so now they value the various natures of courts and judges, just pretending their identity is worth what is not. It is worse than negative. Identity of negative value, nature, progressions, acts, and natures. Each modern nation, not by accident, states and areas self-valuing wars, as even if they part of it, where it counts, because that's how their identity, they're using their identity. Free speech. You can't take it. Can't take it because you guys are already recorded involved with database racketeering. You guys are already recorded with evidence reception racketeering. Anticipation of what the laws are, so how you can exploit them. Words racketeering. Pretend not to understand truth. You're all victims. That's what you're victim predators. Free speech. See now the courts are with racketeering with the uses of the Facebook. They have everyone fighting about nonsense. Others, they're going to quote statutes. The whole bar is recorded criminally foreign influence, originally instilled, delusions raw. Have them pick one name in sequence. We don't need lawyers to have free speech. Now the news is stealing people's speech because they messed up. Because they attach me to my family to fake words, fake locations. Fake ties to complete strangers, fake natures and ties to other people. All recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with medical racketeering. Uses a house in my area I never even met. You bet. So what they're doing, they have the whole standing. That's why they have you can only see them through what is recorded identity of the ground, actually recorded acts. This shows them with and why and how they had to have a tremendous police pretend to record a conversation with me with them. It never was. They're also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated inside, outside of Wethersfield Police Department, inside, outside of New Britain Superior Court, racketeering acts roles with interbranch Facebook pages and their databases and themselves with verbal racketeering with child sex offenders, medical offenders, also with drug clicks, with the qualities of weeds and stuff like that, and with foreign and domestic military. A whole bunch of people on off Two-Route Highway, on and off Hangdog Lane, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with Justice Department racketeering, with identity thefts, identity racketeering. What is that with black and white? What is that? When forced, only if you're black you can speak for black, and only if you're going to be BS. Fake. Like everyone else, white, black, pink, purple, green. Let one meeting, one way redeems. So you read in the dummies for Python programming. See if you want to set up your own leadership of your network, your database. So this is what we're doing with the ancient gaming system and with the Campus Marcias is. Which is to restore. See, there are three natures of the clause. For example, this is about the Trinity. I'll give you a gift. I want to know the name because I've been asking to report. There are further with each age of campus in my town and intercities recorded tied. Further identities of fire department. Oh, their identity, that's they have that pseudo positive, all victims. Everyone speaking through other used by a racketeering method that was sophistication here since before our founders were born. And they were locking in. Not just it worse, but everyone blaming other things other than themselves. And they were engineering, fact giving nature defenses of that and exploitations of that and means and needs to hide that perpetually. Sequence value never goes away. Give many pray. The value of the Native Americans that lost their lives for that's what made America great. Damage control. That's what James Madison did. They were locking in what was going to be even worse, North and South. So he preempted it, and they had to hide their roles even after. They had to all pretend that they all had to get so scared at once that they all had to agree to fight together. We don't even know the extent of it too, because they have it's recorded, proved that they even have self-valued their own roles with the identity thefts of our founders. That's not what they say. They want the surface values of the Constitution defended. See, they have the Department of Homeland Security in Hartford, Connecticut. They have the buildings next to and as the one of Fox Connecticut News. They have the security police of the building involved with these natures with the military, intermilitary. They have Air Force families. They have like Paul Kelly. I barely know him. I only know him from confessions. He's involved with medical racketeering with so involved with like acid and things like that per him and them. I never saw him acid with them. I never did acid with them. I barely know them. These are also people on and off Trinity College, recorded confessed on and off Trinity when I was in high school. These are people associated with the Paul Zano family. I barely know too. Recorded confessed demonstrated involved interstates with intelligence community racketeering. Now they involve many names because they're hiding behind that. I asked to report prime acts, sequence shifts. And now they forge names and switch names when you go into courts. They make confessions. They say, oh, they make confessions. You say, okay, and you just say, go with the rules. You don't say anything. Then they're going to attach you to. They use that time to attach you to pretend you said things you never did, pretend you had bad behavior you never did. Now these are people also with their recorded with racketeering uses of Facebook pages, New Britain Superior Courts. Hartford courts, the experts on this, recorded and involved forging names, switching names, racketeering with the shared policing of stores. Drugstores, no, too. We have state police, their family members, their daughters, and stuff like that. Weatherfield Police Chief's daughter. Whole bunch of people tied to her friends involved with the people I do know only because they sought me out for confessions. And then they involved with recorded, confessed, and demonstrated sequence racketeering roles, even having used whole groups, whole bunch of people tied to a Brian Silver and to a New Britain Superior Court and to a Christine Bedard Tardet, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated even white/black female judges, more than one female judge. A bunch of men judges retired and standing. Whole bunch of prosecutors, long standing and other with that court too. Mr. Salisbury, I never had a conversation with in my life. He's also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved with racketeering uses of CCSU since I was a kid. Of people roles with people tied to Wasabi Bajario. I also only know from context where he sought me out to record, confess, demonstrate, confirm roles with confessions of my neighbors involved with interbranch racketeering. This is how they're keeping kids as victim predators because they're forcing sustained kids aren't going to. Oh, well, there's nothing we can do about that. Meanwhile, they have on each age they do little tricks. Pretend kids they go against the boys and girls sickly distinctly, sickly non-distinctly, and simultaneously. Worse, adapting, because this is another. These are other natures of motivations that are bonded by a method that is maintenance to a whole bunch of fronts as a whole bunch of connected methods of keeping everyone blaming other things, others, and selves, even when right, being wrong. Boxing is strong, but give it rest. I taught best. So they have each of the identity, the ground locations, gyms. So people are going to see things. They're going to say, oh, that person's that. And they're making overall fights while they're preventing people free speech and preventing people the means to report the sequence shifts, the names forging and switching. They have mail crimes. I can't get a response to that. They have wire crimes. They say, oh, we don't do that. It's recorded. They forced me into a triage place. Then they have a whole big job. See that person, they forced them for a mental evaluation. They know that they've been using their identities already criminally. Now sometimes they're gonna have people come in there, they really have to do something. But they're using that truth, for example, to lie. Whole fake conversations with me about World Trade Center attack. As people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with other natures of racketeering with federal criminals from Connecticut, also interbranch further recorded and involved with racketeering roles. Illusions, no. And identity thefts, natures of it, roles, and acts. No, and with whole methods recorded. They're using the crime method here and there in Russia and America, for example, because they keep repeating that. Now, CNN is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with interstates Justice Department racketeering with judges, various natures of courts, not just in the Britain Superior Court leading up to the Trade Center attack. I'm talking about them crime roles with outside of the courts. They were influencing people on off Normandy Heights apartment complex. The ones next to it recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by a whole bunch of people involved with racketeering that was exploited by foreign and domestic military. Kuwaiti, involved with Deans, also involved with, we have the intelligence community involved with racketeering. And if you say that, what are they going to do? Interbranch, individually grouped it together, already invested, crime method, nature, acts, roles. Natures as criminal and seditious natures. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a police form, I'm not a criminal. So this is how we have to counter how we had criminally foreign influence branches of government and sciences originally instilled. They even had people with homeschooling recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved. Nurses, foreign and domestic, involved with the racketeering with doctors. Now these are people with natures of organized crime and of natures of it and justifications of it as with premises treatments of positive sequence treatments that can't defend that and explain or stand understood at the same time what Joseph Mengele was about. So they have to pretend to be positive. For example, interbranch individually grouped it together, they have to pretend to hate Hitler. The guy who's the military guy, the individual that you come to at the last second when the states and areas are the bond is already negative value. Nature progressive. In some ancient times, each modern nation is in a trap. This is using identity nature, the identities of the titles, criminally foreign influence, the identity of the ground relationship to it. It needs the counters. In America, even though Christianity is the majority religion, they will not permit you the free speech to defend the first part of the Old Testament, right up to the part where it says all you have to do is understand up to here. About the sciences, too. Science is sharing identity. And see, the beginning of the Quran, it says it says you have to understand this one part up to the part if you don't agree about how their interpretation of what the identity of all things at once is, then you're not supposed to play in the mosque. You're not supposed to give up on it. But if people are going to be psychos, see, here and there, they are preventing anyone from demonstrating that and how the identities of the law, the identities of the sciences are reliant upon pseudo-positive premises treatments, sequence treatments, and defenses of that as criminal insidious natures of positive, reliant upon names. Oh, Darwin, that's evolution. English is about evolution, as we will see. Vaccines. So, federal trade commissions, all these, in other words, we have lawyers that are recorded originally and still indifferent to pretending that they know about the law and other people don't, so we're wrong. They're sequence shifting. Now, it's even to an extent where they already used Congress criminally. Now, this is again leading up to the Trade Center attack from Connecticut. Interbranch already involved criminal uses of identity of the ground. The campuses of each age connected before they used CCSU criminally. When I was there, see, this is from off campuses, and then on and off it. See, but the part that's off of it is forcing people to fact cheating nature racketeering, logic racketeering, word sequence racketeering, database racketeering roles, where they can keep those identities pretending that the colleges are being told on, rather than the specific crime acts. Like one of the officers on and off Trinity College recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with uses of the name Darth Vader and uses of the theater of the force of victim predators recorded. Victims, in defense of them. But then if they want to defend it, they can only help to be victim predators, which would be recorded. I could demonstrate to you right in that moment. Like the Star Wars with the uses of the force. See, this is about the Trinity. There's nothing is diacritical. Only outcomes. See, but we have outcomes. We have to address this with the child campuses and the experts of that with the courts. You have to address that because the police, the courts, individually grouped and together are involved with the racketeering acts and methods here. And with like a Kerr family, I don't know if it was them because there was the spelling K-N-E-R-R with a Dave Kerr, K-N-E-R-R, and Eric, K-N-E-R-R. But these are also people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with the Kerr family and by an officer, Jerry Miller. Jerry Miller, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a Mike Kerr with a Jerry Kerr, his brother, and with his father, Jerry Kerr, and his mother. And these are people involved with insurance companies, the identities of them as victims. And then they have investigators. And see, that's how those investigators keep them as victim predators. That's what they're doing with the online platforms like Facebook. Now, the New Britain Superior Court has been using their Facebook page with medical families that have been stealing the identities of kids. And they have been doing sustained on off campuses racketeering that build polarities around their kids involved with these other natures of racketeering bonded. Now, we have to be able to report the predicate acts with the mail crimes, wire crimes, physical delusions, criminal uses of the Congress. Give them Me Too. They'll jump right up and defend that. They can't. Then they defend what they did. They defend what they did. Then they're a breaching screen, a breaching tool. from what hurts each area, sickly to each age of difference. Boys, girls, sickly distinctly, sickly non-distinctly, to hide, to keep from how non-distinctly being blamed on other things other than themselves. Even when correctly, juxtaposed wrong, they're doing it. That's why they're pretending other. Then they're defending, oh, sue us. All right, pick one name and sequence and get yourselves onto paper. So as we have recorded a shakedown of YouTube, by a whole bunch of people with the FBI and with the CIA recorded with their family members involved with racketeering, with houses on and off the campuses connected, and with business locations on and off the campuses connected, and all along routes. And so if you want the YouTube channel, youtube.com/user/Romulus Wall, not to defend positive for the kids, pick one name and sequence, you cowards. Don't be punks with you breaching screen tools. Don't pretend um, because you're a killer for the country, whatever like that. That means anything it does in here. You forsake your country here. You pick one name in sequence, and who are these people? I never had one conversation, never had anything to do with this Joshua Stryker in my life at Trinity College. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Involved with a whole bunch of police forms, intercities, involved with the Joshua Julian. And a whole bunch of people. I never had anything to do with Joshua Julian in my life. He's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by a family in my area tied to them in the past. I remember that. And there are people with state forensics lab also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering with their family and with child sex offenders and with their patients and criminals that are in that place. Whole bunch of people tied to a former Mayor Gold. And he's got I never met the Lee Gold. And I mentioned on Facebook before about the Debbie Gold. Now, see, they're hiding what's actually recorded on Facebook. They also still took one of my first Facebook pages too, because it had the people involved with New Britain Superior Court and with other courts and with racketeering with the prosecutors' cliques and with the drug cliques with this Leahy family that forged names, switched names, pretended conversations with me my entire life, and now as an adult. Now, these are people that have forced drugs on people. If you go in to go for a mental evaluation, they fake conversations yelling to do so. These are also people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with and as a whole bunch of people tied to the Dillon family, with my new and past neighbors involved with the untimely deaths on and off Trinity College, on and off CCSU, with roles with the racketeering, also with the lawyer of Robert Cheverry. Robert Cheverry is his name, of former lawyer of former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and with a whole bunch of people with New Britain Superior Court, Hartford courts involved with racketeering with the areas and with foreign and domestic military police families and other natures of military and foreign and domestic. Now we have these are campuses I didn't even go to, like Wesleyan, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also involved with these structures that are interstates. Pentagon, Washington D.C. Trade Center agreements, like with the psychology, their roles with racketeering with the prisons. Now, see, if they put a woman in for prison, they wouldn't try to use methods to force drugs on her, because they have to go in like a 30-day cycle or whatever like that. So she got lucky. That girl in the news, that woman in the news. I don't think anyone she's trying to defend her kids. Those schools and those interbranch bodies are already needing to defend, pretend they're positive with our criminal and serious nature. They're pretending that is legalized and legitimate. That is reliant upon things like wars. That is reliant upon all kinds of threats tied to all the materials associated with hospitals, associated with all that goes into keeping that safe, that locks people's lives invested, sacrificed and then they want that sacrifice paid back. But when it comes down to it, with that they did that sacrifice to keep everyone fakes. Here CT breaks. So they have these online policing, these acts recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They have the Federal Communications, the Federal Trade Commission involved with racketeering since before the Trade Center attack. In the Trade Center attack context, and since with the investigators of it, further with predicate acts like mail crimes, wire crimes, falsified police reports, stacking them into databases, human trafficking, switching the identities of involving whole different intercities departments to mix names of officers, pretending to know, keeping people from responding, and then they're pretending people don't speak clear. People who can't speak as clear as me, especially regarding some of the truth. So that they get over on such by preventing people from speech and pretending they don't understand that and how that their whole place is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering. These courts with sequence racketeering before and after their crime acts, even before it, because it's preemptive because of the way it's maintained. Self-motivated. A whole bunch of people tied to a De La Fera family, recorded, confessed, demonstrated with judges retired and standing involved with drug crimes, with the kids, with gambling crimes with the kids. But they use it for other natures of identity thefts. And I never had a class with them. These are people involved with fire departments. These are people they're using this stuff to lock people into sensibilities, each age of fact achieving nature, with positive treatments, where everyone's looking for money, but everyone and so what they do, focus on something, but leave out positive. Leave it to the experts. There are no experts. The experts here. That's recorded. The WFSB has lied to you. They attached me to fake locations. They hid confessions to me and threats against little kids to me with the kids. Because they have the prosecutors and the police chief's kid is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also. His daughter and his extended family also further involved with a whole bunch of people involved with a whole bunch of natures of racketeering with the kids. These are also people that had the federal government with other nations and with overt criminal enterprises through time, intercampuses, interjob sites, and their live progressions juxtaposed with that, with these same people that pretend to know me behind their back. And they were part of sexual circles, had boyfriend, girlfriends at the same time, a whole bunch of brothers. One of them had a whole bunch of sisters. Those people had judges in their families. They're involved with a whole bunch of federal criminal co-defendants, a former director of the FBI, a whole bunch of other FBI, CIA, involved with them criminal uses of identity ground locations. A whole bunch of people criminally involved with a Aiello family, for example, with a business right next to Buckley High School. This is worse than extortion. He's also involved with a whole bunch of people in my area, further recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with foreign and domestic medical families with racketeering with forensics cliques and with people with Park Street with Alina's Pizza involved with state police, Hartford police, Wethersfield police, FBI, his lawyer involved with racketeering with real estate companies, judges involved, the sex offenders' families involved, even a principal sex offender, further involved with other natures of racketeering with them. Vaccines. And the principal sex offender's lawyer, and his doctor, and those courts are involved with more worse than him with the kids, and with his campus and with other ones in town. Vaccines. Now, I've been asking for writing since before the Trade Center attack, and they used all the identity of the ground locations like boxing gyms, recorded with ties to CCSU racketeering acts from off campuses maintained. Not one has trained. Vaccines. I never had a conversation with the daughter of a Roland Roy with Connecticut amateur boxing. She's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved. She said something. She said she liked Metallica. You know, Metallica, great, great. No, but she's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering uses of the colleges and of the universities. That is inseparable from what is actually recorded, how they're exploiting the kids, because various natures of departments, like the educational department, the English department, the acting department, all recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering with a whole bunch of nations, the whole overt criminal enterprises, and with a witness protection program. So note the letter I sent way at a time in the past too about a gag order. I'm gonna write that. I'm gonna put that copy up there because I believe that's tied. I mean that's tied anyway. No matter what. So for example, no matter even if that was one of the curs, and so these are also people involved with a whole bunch of men and women at CCSU are involved with the DeMoro families. Now there's a bunch of Joe DeMoros. Now there's more than one. These are state police families, FBI families, stewards of the Witness Protection Program, involved also with racketeering acts with juxtaposed overt criminal enterprises like Los Solitos and like Italian gangs, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also with these interbranch with the prison cliques. Now, CCSU also has a department that trains people to be criminal justice, that has roles on and off campuses with racketeering with the leaderships of the prisons and their kids, including Lawrence Claby. I never had a conversation with in my life, who was a Olympic athlete leader. See, but I don't even know where he lives or how to get a hold of him. But see, what I need to do is talk online because I don't need to talk to theater natures, and that's all there is. And no one owes me anything but the people with the positions of government. He's going to say, oh, well, this is the process you do. Those processes are messed up. You're not listening to me. Get me a goddamn response in writing. Pick one name in sequence and respond for this guy with these threats against more worse than threats with these crime acts roles. I've been asking since before the Trade Center to report tied racketeering with databases. Since before computers, they were involved with this database racketeering, the uses of the ground tied to the live progressions with it. That's recorded. No. So, simultaneously, one way space is sequentially, comes before value, before physical existence. And simultaneously, physical existence comes as value before that. Another way. And simultaneously, this is building an extent of that is more forever nature, but it's only more of one part of it. It's more of what we can't be completely, but we could get in a positive or negative relationship to itself, which is increasing. Nothing leaks. Nothing goes away as this nature of volume. That's why the nature of volume that water is has more positive or negative values and value progressions come into it. That's why the nature of volume that Earth is, matter, has more positive or negative value nature progressions come into it. Distinctly and non-distinctly Earth, because we have a distinct and non-distinct relationship to its identity of volume's volume's relationship to itself. Again, in the value of that, not only bigger than us, but bigger than us three ways at once, simultaneously, distinctly, and non-distinctly, which enables the invisible but still discernible to be discerned as the subject and as the predicate and as their combined value, which is even greater than the sentence. is in demonstration of, and with, and by. So we'll examine this. The algorithm is this trinity's value/value nature relationship to the identity that is also 5 semi-natures as semi-nature, as it is also as a complete nature, a semi-nature one way, but only because those other two are simultaneously. And because of those simultaneously, this is the first circuit. Now, I'm not an electrician. I'm going to show you how we can use the identity of correlation nature. We can make mistakes, but we're to reveal the mistakes that have been made by each of the scientists since semi-ancient times. This just reminds. Campus Marcius needs the name returned. Now one has learned. So we have a big problem with prosecutors. They even used former Governor Malloy to pretend things in background that they can't pretend on the surface, because they forged names of doctors and switched names. They do this was they have sequenced racketeering acts and roles and methods with judges, retired and standing. Now, see, we have to know that these are various natures of courts that were already criminally involved with criminal uses in the areas. Their police forms, family members. This is how they keep everyone speaking through other and needing to hide. We have this Joshua Julian recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a crime with people through time that pretend involved with the courts, prosecutors, judges, and their police forms, how they stay involved with racketeering acts with overt criminal enterprises. This is originally still they have them blaming predicate acts. The real cause of criminal insidious nature is blamed on other things, others themselves. They're blaming on wrong, even when they're right. That's because they're involved with the racketeering that's making these areas where people are shooting each other all the time. It's common sense, free speech. How could I have free speech if they stole me to fake locations, fake words, fake ties to people in the past and in the present? You don't understand the extent of it because the intercity's tie. This is what they use their confessions for, too, for complete strangers. These people have no manners, too, online. The people we have involved with vetting, they pretend that's because they're trying to check in the system. They're bullshit, because then they have to defend that. We have criminal readings of statutes. You can't see that guy delusions, raw, criminally foreign influence, premise treatment, sequence treatments. Your Federal Trade Commission. Who's got a problem? Get me a goddamn response, too. For the mayors retired and standing, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated roles with this former mayor Gold and his family, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by people associated with forensics labs and with body dumping spots, overtly criminal and legalized ones, with the roles with other natures of racketeering acts against me and people I know. Each age of fact, cheap nature, in fact, everyone. Boxings. We're not alone here, too. See, they're hiding behind that. They'd be too expensive, so they have statutes that are read. Too expensive to do things right. So that's why we have to have the mandated law followed out here. We have courts forging names, switching names, for stacking falsified police reports with the executive branch grouped. Now these are people involved with violence that requires free speech to counter. Because when you act polite and when you say nothing, they're attaching you to fake words. Not just me. Not just me. And this was every year of my life. The whole same people, why don't you say something? Because I had no conversations with the people that are pretending that I did. This is what's actually recorded, even by cameras, that they're pretending recorded other. Now get a response for them. Get them now. Get it now. Give me a response for the deans forging and switching names. Let them be individual responsible here. And I get rights to the Attorney General now because the FBI has recorded, confessed, and demonstrated and confirmed involved with worse than indifferent to their roles with database racketeering, wire racketeering, conspiracy theories against people and sequence racketeering, for example. They're then pretending the people are with conspiracy theories when we ask to report crime acts, and they just keep stacking tortures, worse than torture, extortion, worse than identity thefts, attaching us to fake lies, fake words, fake ties to other people, fake locations. Remember, simultaneously with WFSB, people on off Fox Connecticut News pretending things recorded by police equipment. I caught them with child offenders. What are you doing with the on off these with the only clubs with these people? Well, that's why they have they have the problem gangs come in and stuff like that. Because the other nations in here, they need to keep pseudo positive lies about sensibilities and all liars pretending that experts can handle things. There, no one could speak. So they have to keep these places in fights with people, get people arrested by making things up. With child sex offenders, they even have to use around their kids. Because before they were prosecutors, they were involved with database racketeering when they were kids. And that recording kept them needing to defend sensibilities in relationship to titles and identities of experts that are sick in the heads, involved crimes with their patients and criminals before they were there, like the principal sex offender. Now, like women doctors, also on and off the campuses, intercities involved. Then when they moved to maybe I don't know if she still has the house too, but she moved to another town. She's also still involved with that. And now these are people recorded confessed one of those houses involved with the Scalora family. Those are also people further involved. There are people that I never had anything to do with this Phil Colo. They and other extended family members of a house that came into my area when I was in fourth grade with a brother and sister, a brother that was in my grade. Now he's also recorded confessed, demonstrated, involved a whole bunch of friends that I never had anything to do with that were in my grade though. The whole time I was in high school, like a Rick Cianfaglione and a John Wayano, involved with sequence shifts where they have a whole groups that way, where he pretended other. Now because they were using databases for racketeering, um, they do uh, fake everything, fake positive treatments and fake negative treatments, and worse. Now, because the correlation is a trinity. So, vaccines. So these are 9/11 cowards. They use the judicial branch and the executive branch grouped criminally and individually criminally. So we have to be able to report the courts verbally. See, but they were lying about what's actually recorded over the internet, over email communications, because they're already caught, recorded with a whole bunch of natures of racketeering at once. With this Dillon family, with my new and past neighbors, with state police, a whole bunch of Wethersfield police, former director of the FBI, a whole bunch of federal criminals tied to it, to and as ones that were his co-defendants. In a case tied to my father, we're not tied to, my father was the plaintiff in a pro se litigant, pro se civil rights suit, labor suit, racketeering, pro se racketeering influence and corrupt organization act. Now this is before the Patriot Act. In that building, the Department of Homeland Security recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering with roles with this, identity thefts, sequence shifts, roles with military racketeering with Kuwait, with all these wars, the responses to the Trade Center, those responses to have them to self-defended. Now we have logic racketeering, uses of identities that were breaching roles with a whole bunch of nations at once. Doesn't make it not, even if you fight those nations, you're still in collusion with them, like Russians, like with their uses of psychology drugs, with their justice system, their prison cliques like Sandy Hook kept needing to hide all the prisons because on and off the state prison officers through time involved with people I don't even know the names of, like a Dave. I have to look it up. He's tied to also to the uses of the Hartford gyms, boxing gyms, used by each of the branch individually criminally. Everyone's speaking through other. They use that criminally Because then they forced problems that they were a part of. Not just problems. They forced racketeering that they had roles with. Not just the way they have the right. And if you say that, they're going to say, "Oh, that's what it is. We were trained to go be undercover, so we're racketeering roles." But they're not doing that legitimately. They've been using that the whole path. Their descriptions of the whole. Oh, this is the way you go and you sue. They pick one name in sequence. You have to lie to the Attorney General now of the United States. The State's Attorney's Office, the Attorney General's Office also reported, confessed, and demonstrated with sensibilities that are as criminal and serious nature already weaponized against each age of fact treatment nature. And so what do they have to do? Pretend to be against that. So how do they do it? As sick punks with the Federal Trade Commission. You got gun threats, bug spray, crimes, uses of it, intercampuses, Trinity College with CCSU. Before I went to those colleges, it was confessed, demonstrated, and recorded how they are used from off the campuses to keep the intelligence community criminally foreign influence. We have people associated with male pilots and their family members, also with my new and past neighbors with this Dillon family, and with the people with the World Trade Center, Pentagon racketeering, and Pennsylvania Field. You drop your shit. Fuck's sakes. You give me a goddamn response. Be a coward, little coward. Every little punk fake is gonna pretend passions and emotions about 9/11 with no premise treatments. Indifferent to someone asking to get a goddamn response in writing, you fucking cowards. Don't tell me what's right for the kids. Before I'm gonna show you something, motherfucker. For example, because this is why they're saying motherfucker in the cities. I'm gonna show you how it's not good to say that. See, but there's priorities, motherfucker. And you guys are using violence. And now, so if you keep going like this and I keep asking you calm and you keep ignoring me, motherfucker, that keeps getting exploited, motherfucker. You see what I'm saying, motherfucker? Federal Trade Communication. I'm trying to talk to you like a man, motherfucker. Because that's what the fuck you're talking like. Give me the fucking name of who the fuck is my mayor in this fucking town. Who the fuck are these motherfuckers on off the state judicial branch offices with this Enzo Fienza family? And I forgot his cousin's name. And the women judges. And the women police forums. Associated Foreign and Domestic Police Forums. Associated on off WFSB. Fox Connecticut News. WTNH. On off Yale College. Note with psychology. Now, see, these are people crippling the other branches of government because these are positive treatments. Each age, they're keeping needed, obfuscated. Discourse. Force boxings. Now, see, they pretended I yelled too. And the only time I ever did that, they did this 3 times. They forced me into a triage by pretending I yelled. The only time I did that was when I caught the way because I never had a conversation verbally with this Dillon guy, this former detective Dillon with my new and past neighbors. And he's got other like a whole partner or something like that. A whole bunch of people tied to Lowe's, the department store, and to Home Depot, and to the shopping center across the street from the Lowe's. You know the policings of these places, of these stores. People associated with DACA and marketing. People associated with acting. They have each of these identities of sciences involved with acting what you can't defend and also at the same time. So I just remind WFSB, fix the fake communications with me. I'm going to counter your violence now into branch with your uses of Facebook page for violence, even sexual crimes, even medical crimes involving kids. And involving each age of fact, cheap nature simultaneously, sickly, distinctly, with the same clicks tied, recorded how tied. Hear many lie. Don't make me have to keep begging Mike Tyson. Then he's gonna kill me. I mean, he wouldn't kill me. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say. I mean, I didn't mean like that. I shouldn't even bring someone. In other words, CCSU brought him into this, and then they made. These are judges involved with courts, recorded like with a whole bunch of people with Washington D.C., Pentagon Racketeering Trade Center. They had a Walters family when I was a kid, a little kid. They had him involved with people with the Tiger Cubs and with the Cub Scouts, involved with racketeering with his brothers, his mother, involved with. They had him give me an affidavit saying that his whole narrative was that some guy was trying to make up him say stuff about me that wasn't true, and he had to keep telling the guy, "Oh no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that." Now, see, these are people with the word communication, word slash value communications, and the word slash value say that have been using it criminally through time. Now, he also has a wedding that was recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering with interbranch family members, people associated with locations along routes like car dealerships, a whole bunch of people with ties to houses in my area. I had nothing to do with him and them, barely. You know what I mean? From one second, I saw him in the context with one of the families that pretending other, with a whole bunch of people from. They don't even think they went ever to CCSU. I don't know, but a whole bunch of people with CCSU recorded, confessed, and demonstrated further involved with the extended family members of a house in my area, involved with the principal sex offender then and now further with more with these two Mendez police. Now, Phil Cololo by a Bob Chase is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. That's the last name of the Ray Cololo. Phil Cololo was also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering acts when I was a kid, with databases, with mail crime, wire crime, falsified police reports, fake signs of correlation nature, influences, roles with areas racketeering actual by the courts, by the people associated with the Congress, and by people associated with the Weathersfield Police and the agencies and their family members. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated all identity ground locations. How used for this? So we need to have a place to report actual things, not notions, and not dishonest ones involved with racketeering, which is what we have. So those people, even though, like an Officer Jerry Miller, he's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with wire crimes and with people involved with sexual, medical, and judicial racketeering uses of New Britain Superior Court's Facebook page. Those passion crimes also, because they were hiding their roles, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated and confirmed with racketeering on and off CCSU leading up to and in the Trade Center attack context, as people involved with confessions tied to those schools and demonstrations of their roles with racketeering tied to those schools when they were kids, in the only context I know them with. Now, these are people to the maintenance of each age of fact-cheating nature, maintain self-valued criminal facetious natures since founding, pounding drums. Prejudice. That's where that's what they pretend, because they're victims, but victim predators. All intercultural. Our leaders, they're fake. They're breaching screens. If you care about anything, let alone the most sacred things that we have to care about as Americans, as other nations, then you care about this attention to detail. You don't pretend to be about attention to detail as criminally foreign influenced knaves, involved with a whole bunch of natures of medical racketeering, evidence reception racketeering. There are proofs that they have people written off as suicides that not suicides. I never called the suicide hotline. I don't never want to commit suicide. You think about that, you go, I don't want. It's our nature. They're making people do other things in their nature. But so if there are exceptions to it, maybe some people will commit suicide. Don't I'm not saying I'm saying if you don't do suicide, give these people. But in other words, they have those suicide hotline recorded involved with crimes with judges, and they use confessions, for example, because then those judges are going to pretend, oh, they people have to feel secure and that they could come to people for help. That's why you have to be able to report the help recorded criminally foreign influence. See, they're involved with other natures of racketeering motivations and methods and uses of the lawyers how criminally involved through time. I don't know. They implied it was vetting, but it was way worse than that because it was recorded involved with AT&T. Like back in the day, they had the telephones, the first cordless. Not in the house, and in the house, the one in the wall. See, people associate with AT&T with a Spada family and with a Walters family are again with Justice Department racketeering that has judges retired and standing and their extended family members already invested to racketeering acts and roles with stuff in databases and with uses and with roles outside pretending illusions tied to the lie progressions tied to that, which is kept needed increased value by themselves, breaching screens, tools, and roles. For example, because they had to hide what they really realized in relationship to the Trade Center attack investigators and its relationship to Weathersfield with their roles with racketeering leading up to it in it. Now I have to it's recorded. So we have to have, but it's not legalized. What they're pretending is legal racketeering. And see, that's recorded too. See, but we have to have free speech. That's why they had to have simultaneously, while the courts attached me to fake locations, fake recorded things, hid their confessions, hid their recorded racketeering with a whole bunch of intercities police for the same fake arrest, with the same fake arresting officers that began with a falsified police began with a promise to appear falsified police report. Then they kept pretending they make mistakes, kept switching officers, the towns of the officers, people that weren't even there with the location it was about. Then they presented themselves to judges, a judge, a black judge, black female judge, a black guy that was pretending to be a fake arresting officer of me. He's also involved with MPs that are KKK themed and Confederate flag themed and Puerto Rican flag themed. Now these are also foreign and domestic military, whatever. And Puerto Rico's an island, but they're also involved with the intercampuses, colleges, and university. Sammy Vega, involved with people with the criminal justice system, involved with racketeering, with the databases, with psychologists, foreign and domestic. All kinds of treatments are positive that are fake. They're pretending things. That's why they're pretending this is what the statistics say. There are things manifest with the statistics because there are the racketeering manifest. Having everything force sustained on people, not told on. How that's exploited is so insidious. It's simple though. That's why we have to have free speech. They won't prevent. That's why they're delaying it. Then they stack the amount of things and people that get involved in the conversation. No sensibilities. All therefore more and more reliant upon pseudo positive. So they want to have me blame it on my neighbors. But it's really their roles with the judges and police forms associated with this Detective Dillon and with the confessions racketeering tied to him and uses of it on and off Trinity College with the untimely deaths and the confessions about roles with the family members involved with that as roles with as foreign and domestic roles with things like DACA and nurses. A whole bunch of people tied to Joe DeMauro. I never had a class with Joe DeMauro. He's with a whole bunch of foreign and domestic police forms, People associated with racketeering with a whole bunch of nations, including Russians, associated with my town. I'll gather around, boxing. See, they have the students, they're brought into the journalism, and they're being lied to. And they're being told to respect and to look for jobs towards database tied networks that are criminally foreign influence victims, but victim predators, simultaneously, distinctly and non-distinctly from the branches of government themselves, sickly, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously. Criminally foreign influence methodically, effectively. That's recorded. It's not a conspiracy theory. Follow the sequence shifts and respond to me because we need that. We need further. We have further. We have the educational department, the leader of it. Nothing personal, Mr. Gallucci. Also, your daughter is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with some medical families and with a past boyfriend. Also, a Harris family, also involved with racketeering with that, with the judges and with medical families, also involved with overt crime, drug collects and racketeering with federal criminals tied to, a whole bunch of them tied to, and as federal criminal co-defendants or former director of the FBI, and their family members involved with people that were put in classes with me criminally, that just were in classes with me and stuff like that. Every exception exploited criminally and set up to exploit criminally. That's what's actually recorded. Like with two Demain brothers and with two Mendes police involved with the racketeering intercities with Wethersfield and with Hartford and with New Britain Superior Court. And these are people involved with that. You know, I never had a conversation with this Janita Mendes in my life. These are police forms that needed to pretend others. So they pretended it. They put the name of police equipment, put me in a quotation. These are people with Trade Center crime rolls. That's a Trade Center Crime Act roll with people involved with text me to fake conversations about the World Trade Center, about cases associated with it. Categorically telling lies about that. They pretended I had conversations with anybody about police surveillance equipment. Now this is a whole bunch of people with Hartford Hospital doctors. They're also involved sequence racketeering, a whole bunch of natures of courts, and their drug clicks with various natures of courts involved with them criminally. We have delusions wrought criminally foreign influence judges, originally and still, that are a problem here. We have to have mandated law followed. Now, when someone wants to report something wrong, that's why we have to deal with their method of child abuses with the women involved. This is real sick. It's a whole bunch of the women need to have the men hurt the kids because they need to hide lie progressions. The people with the courts involved criminally with the campuses too, as the ones further involved with the child campuses. Don't forget, they're training the educational people while they're training the courts and the prison stewards, leaderships, and their family members are also maintain criminally foreign influence, needing to hide the same sequence shifts, needing to hide the same finite, active, progressive, and identity thefts, racketeering, and fraud, lies, roles with evidence reception, uses of the media, all forms of it on and off CCSU, on and off Trinity College victims. They hid this from parents, but it's hid from the intelligence community using the campuses criminally, from the judges and their family members using the campuses criminally. The various natures of politicians, they had their influences. People walk by me, prosecutors, sick. I see them fake stick. So you give me a response, you cowards. You give me a response now. This is from the Trade Center. This is before the Trade Center attack. A pattern of racketeering, then as roles with child sex offender principals campus. Intercities, the same ones, interbranch, involved criminally. Same doctors, forging names, switching names, fake ties to me since I was a kid, behind my back, fake conversations, roles, spreading lies through kids, while in databases they're pretending kids to fake locations. These are sick people. Where they have parties and stuff like that. They're controlling positive and negative. You get them to one name and sequence now.